අයිබෝවන්. Towards the export-oriented economy, Industrial Development Board is focusing to drive the Sri Lankan manufacturing industries to cater the global market. Among the other industrial sectors, electrical-based industrial sector has been identified as the fast developing, growing key industrial sector in Sri Lanka. So, today our discussion is about this industrial sector to showcase the potential in this industry to the world. I cordially welcome to this discussion Dr. Jayathu Samarawickrama, the Senior Lecturer, Department of Electronic and Telecommunication, University of Moratuwa, as well as Director General, National Engineering Research and Development Center, Sri Lanka. Welcome you, sir.
Okay.
So, my first question is, are we ready for this advanced technology in Sri Lanka?
Yes, of course. First of all, I would like to thank giving me this opportunity to discuss electronic sector in Sri Lanka. Of course, we are ready. Actually, I see mainly three areas in the electronic industry. The first one is design. Purely there are companies who do designs for the foreign companies. And the second type of company I see research and development. Then the third one I see purely manufacturing. For given designs, Sri Lanka has the capacity to manufacture and deliver the product. I see mainly those three areas in the electronic sector in Sri Lanka. Then other thing, when it comes to human resources, I think when we talk about electronic industry, that we cannot forget our human resources. That is the key success in this industry. Let's take our Moratuwa University. We take the best student in the country. Usually to get selected into a government university, they have to get the highest mark in a competitive exam. So that is the key success for most of our electronic industry, because we recruit, we get the best people for this electronic industry. When it comes to electronics department in Moratuwa University, that is the cream of the country. So that is our success. With that human resources, basically we can do anything. Most of our graduates work in other countries, perform well. They are attracted to many highest grade universities like MIT, Harvard, Cambridge. Those are the universities that generally our graduates go and perform well. So that is one of our key success. So with that the human resource capability, we can perform any task. That is the one thing. Then other thing what I would like to say, the facilities we have. Government invests lot of money for improving the facility in Sri Lanka. For example, we use license software in Moratuwa University. We have the LTM software, we have the SolidWorks software. Those are the one of the two main software that we use for electronic manufacturing. So we use those licensed softwares. That is how that we get government funding. So that government is pushing us toward this industry. Now I see the great boom in this industry. We have that capacity. So I am very much happy about that, being the senior lecturer in the Moratuwa University, that we can support for this industry to boost and go for the international market. That is the main thing. Then yes, then that is mainly the resources wise. Then when it comes to standard, now when we make any product, when we want to market those products, we have to go with standards. Then only we can win the market. Then only we can be competitive in the market. We have that capacity. For example, in the country NERDC center, we have IP testing facility. Those labs are accredited labs. So that with that facility, we can produce high grade components. We can compete with most of the product manufactured in other countries. So that is the capacity.
That means we are ready for this kind of advanced technology in Sri Lanka. So my next question is, what do you think about the availability of resources?
Yes, we have, as I said earlier, government is funding a huge amount to develop this industry. Mainly they are funding to increase the electronic graduates, right? Increase the quality of the electronic graduates and the testing equipments. The Moratuwa University uses large number of complex instruments for testing. They are cutting edge instruments. So we have that facility, and the same time the softwares that we use in the industry. So we can, of course, we can compete with any other country with those facilities, because we have the capable people in the country. Those are our graduates, our own graduates, Sri Lankans. Then the other part is the resources that we have in the university and the industry. As I said earlier, we have the IP testing facility. Of course, we do not have right now the EMC, electromagnetic compliance testing facility, but that is not a problem. Of course, we can always send our products to other countries and get them certified. That will not be any issue. So if someone asks any standard, yes, we are ready to give that standard. So then we produce, Moratuwa University produce 100 graduates, 100 electronics and telecommunication graduates every year, and another 15 biomedical engineering graduates. That is in the Moratuwa University itself. But when it comes to Peradeniya University, they also produce similar number of graduates. So altogether, per year, maybe we produce around 300 graduates, electronic graduates. So with that capacity, we can do any kind of electronic manufacturing here. So I am confident. Of course, if somebody comes here, so we can do designs, we can do R&D activities here, we can do manufacturing. There are many reputed companies in the international reputed companies. Namely, I just remember, I can just mention two companies that very familiar to me. That is Vario System, that is in Katunayaka, and another one is in Biyagama in Lanka. The one is the European company, other one is a Japanese company. They make the international grade products. That is the capacity. So with that, of course, we are ready.
Okay. So my next question is, what is the market in this industry? What do you think about or briefly discuss about market in this industry?
Yes, I see two type of markets. Mainly the local market. Of course, I see many the import substitutes in the local markets. At the same time, I see many companies who develop products for foreign market. I can tell that's one company, I know, Paraco. They are very much success in the network equipment manufacturing. They are selling these products to other countries. So our own graduates, that company was formed as a startup some time back. Now they are very much successful in the business. So that is the way that they are performing, and our graduates are nowadays making many startups. Yes.
So, yeah. As well, I would like to know about how would be and how are the government support to this industry, or there are some
yes, now
developing process.
Definitely, without government support, it is impossible to perform in this industry. The reason is the price of the resources, the cost of the resource. For example, the softwares are very much expensive, and the testing devices, and the standards, getting the standards, maintaining standards labs are very costly part. So government basically support this. Without that support, it is impossible. Now, as I said earlier, we are using licensed software in the Moratuwa University. So that is, the government university generally do not take any money from any of the student. So that is how it works, but we get all these the capital funding from the government. That is how we get those resources. So then the government, I think we should be very thankful to government giving that support. Without that support, this in the electronic industry will not be in this level, and we may have to do all kind of manual work. Then we may not perform with the international market.
Yeah. So as well, but are we capable enough to export our products?
Yes, I think there is no limitation. Now, as I said earlier, Paracom, that is one of the main network manufacturer, network device manufacturer in Sri Lanka. They sell products. They have R&D arm in their own company. They make products. They design products. They go to international market. They participate in international exhibitions, right? Conferences. That is how they perform. I think there is a good market for them. That is one good example that how we perform in the this industry.
Yeah, that means if somebody has some kind of doubt about the export market, how to achieve or how to cater the export market, I think that is not a big issue dealing with
definitely,
in Sri Lanka.
Yes, definitely there will not be an issue. With the resources we have, with the government support we have, I am confident we can do anything. That is the capacity.
So, my final question is, are there any research in this industry?
Of course, in the beginning I said we have basically three sectors. One is designing, the second one is R&D, research and development sector, the finally the manufacturing sector. So universities mainly perform R&D activities. They support. Actually, our graduates do a lot of research. We have got a lot of funding for this designing a intelligent camera. That's a government funded project. So we are developing that project these days, and that is one example. And the other one is that many research projects are focusing the develop many innovative products. Then other part that when it comes to Nerd Center, we are developing, we are doing research for the making inverters. That is nowadays we are moving towards solar energy. So in solar energy we need to make a pure sine wave inverters. Now we are developing such inverters in house. Then we try to develop our own LED lamps. That is how we move forward. So we do research because without R&D we cannot do anything. So if you want to lead the market, we have to do R&D. So the as a Nerd Center we do engineering research and development, as well as universities we do. So I forgot to tell some in the beginning. We have this Washington accredited the course in the Moratuwa University. That means any foreign party can trust on our graduates. That is the level that we have. That is the level that we can promise for them. So we are ready to do any kind of electronic design, manufacturing and R&D activities, and we are doing that also. This is not something that is new to us. We are currently performing such activities.
So, while one question, when we are considering about the exporting, we have to consider about some standards. So some standards we can do in house, but some of the standards we have to achieve from some outsiders.
Yes.
Outsource.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, but there will not be any problem because we get those certificates from accredited labs. So from wherever we get, so then we can since we get those certificates from accredited labs, there will not be any issue. Of course, we have to take IP testing lab. We have the Sri Lankan facility here. we have in the NERD Center. That is the one and only IP testing lab in Sri Lanka that we have that lab in NERD Center. So if anybody wants to get this IP certified, IP rating certified, they can come to NERD Center and do that. But when it comes to EMC, at the moment we do not have. So then we have to send those products to the accredited lab and get them certified. If somebody wants, if the foreign party wants to get the certification for this EMC, of course we have that. We can use such certificates because we have connection with those accredited labs.
So I think thank you very much, sir, for your valuable time for giving us, and I think viewers also have some kind of new thing to discuss about manufacturing of electronic and electrical based industrial sector. So I would like to pay my gratitude to Dr. Jayathu Samarawickrama, the Senior Lecturer, Department of Electronic and Telecommunication, University of Moratuwa, as well as Director General, National Engineering Research and Development Center in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much, sir, as well as thank you for all who joined with us. Have a nice day.